What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Coinbros, your guide through the greatest industry on this little rock spinning through the universe in the simulation we're all here together in, and I'm glad you're here with us. There's some news today. There's definitely some news. There's always news, but today's pretty good, right? So we woke up, Bitcoin's at 74.5, and a lot of people got wrecked. There was a lot of people trying to short. Everyone's just trying to play that game of picking like what Trump's going to say and which way we're going to go in the war, and a lot of people are getting wrecked, man. We pumped. What is it? Let's see here. We pumped about 5% overnight, and we're up like 8% on the week. So Bitcoin's doing very well, and we'll talk about some of the reasons why here. And let's start with a couple kind of like interesting stories, right? I think this is one of the worst stories of the day. It's about a hack because, like I said in the past videos, we're going to start seeing a lot more scams and hacks happen in the bear market, and it seems to be happening on a regular basis every week. Last week, we had a $300 million hack. Now today, or yesterday, I think this happened, it's a fake Ledger Live app drained millions. So what Ledger is, if you don't know, it's a hardware wallet, probably the most famous and the largest user base for a hardware wallet. It's been around forever. It's what I use. Supposedly, somebody somehow got a fake app onto the App Store. A lot of people were downloading that app thinking it's the real one. They're putting their private keys or their seed phrases in, and then they're being drained, right? It's pretty much the oldest hack in the book, right? You trick people into thinking that they're on the right site or the right app, and then you basically drain their wallets. I think $9 million have been stolen, and I don't know who's to blame, right? Is it Apple's fault because they allowed like a fake app to go on their app store? I think they're partially to blame. Like there should be somebody there vetting it, right? Like you shouldn't just be allowed to upload an app that's the same app as something that's so massive. You'd think they'd have some type of, I don't know, regulations to stop that from happening, but it got through. A bunch of people lost money. So if you got affected by that, that's horrible. Just always remember, guys, hardware wallets, you're not supposed to be putting your seed phrase or your, private keys directly into any site, right? Ledger is a hardware wallet. It's offline. You're not supposed to ever store your keys on your computer. It's in your ledger, right? And you write it down on paper, and it's usually people that are new in the space, or they just, if you think you're downloading the real app, it's kind of like you kind of just do what it says, right? And that makes sense that people would get hacked. But anyway, so 9 million's gone, sucks. Moving on. MicroStrategies has bought $1 billion in 1 week and is now almost $15 billion underwater on their Bitcoin purchases. I think their average is it's like 78K or 79K, something like that. It's a lot higher than where we're at right now. But they just bought another $1 billion worth of Bitcoin last week. They just keep buying. Like either the guy's gone completely mad and he's just a psycho, or he's a genius and he's going to rule the entire planet. And I think I would bet on the latter. So yeah, man, they just keep buying it up, man. I think their goal is a million Bitcoin. They're at 780,897 Bitcoin. If you can even fathom how much money that is, that's insane, right? Let's see. He doesn't trim. He buys more. Ether is the greatest accumulation in financial history. Oh, there's no middle ground to the scale. Yeah, so it's just like, man, MicroStrategies is just buying everything up. Everything you're selling, if you're selling your Bitcoin, they're just buying it up. So we'll see how that development works out, but they've done this before, and they always seem to be right. The last time he did it was Bitcoin was at 16K or something, or 30K, and he like 7x'd his money, right? Now they're still underwater because they just keep buying. So I think their sites are a lot higher than 100K Bitcoin or 200K Bitcoin. I think they're looking at Bitcoin being in the millions at some point in the future, right? All right, now story number 3, Morgan Stanley 0.14 fee ETF undercuts everyone. The fee war is on. So let me read this. Morgan Stanley, BlackRock is 0.25%. The war fee is on, so they're battling right now. Morgan Stanley's trying to undercut them for their ETF fees. When trillion-dollar asset managers compete on price to sell you Bitcoin, the product has won. The only question left in the market share is, and every base point lower makes the next billion inflows easier. So you got these massive, you got Morgan Stanley, you got BlackRock, you got, they're competing now for you to buy Bitcoin from them, right? And that's good. We want that kind of competition in the market. They want, they want you to use them. That just means that more big players in the game, they're going to start competing. Competition's good for everybody, for the industry, for the market. And at the end of the day, man, those guys are just completely wiping up all the Bitcoin. And I don't think they're going to stop, you know? It's kind of crazy if you think about it. You know, if you think about the way the world's gone in the past 20 years, they've been printing money nonstop. Now, just imagine if you guys would have just been printing all your money and buying a Bitcoin government. You know, you guys could have printed up all of this money that you can create out of thin air, and you could have been buying Bitcoin with it. Now you guys are sitting back wishing you did that because, you know, you thought Bitcoin was a scam, and now you have entire countries battling over it. You know, you have the Straits of Hormuz that are accepting Bitcoin to get oil through, right? It's like this whole time, the US could have just been printing money and just buying all the Bitcoin. And our government would have been in like massive control of probably one of the most powerful financial tools the world has ever known. But instead, we printed up a bunch of money and gave it to a bunch of politicians and then do shit with it. So anyway, yeah, that's my rant. Anyway, that's 3 stories of the day. Bitcoin looks really strong. What else we got here? Okay, 200 million in shorts are at risk. So all those guys that are shorting Bitcoin, they're watching this like with a microscope right now, making sure, seeing if we pump anymore because they're going to get wiped out. And the 70K support level held. We've been talking about. If you guys would have listened to me on a past 2 weeks worth of videos, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I've been almost dead on with every single prediction of what's going to happen in the market. I'm not saying that to be cocky. I'm just saying, man, like, pay attention. You know, I spent a lot of time researching this stuff. I've been here for 10 years. I'm not saying this for any other reason than like I have experience here, and I think, you know, it's good to sometimes just take a look back or take a step back and zoom out and look at what's going on. And it's like I said, the market's not that hard to read if you know what you're looking at, right? Anyway, guys, we have 7 days left in the ceasefire. We'll see what happens there. I'm going to stay positive that we're going to get something worked out, or at least nothing bad will happen. I think that's the main thing. And be nice to each other. Much love out there, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next one. Peace.